Mr. Kumar, budget is round the corner. On what lines, without getting into the details of the mechanism and the processes, on what lines are you really expecting the budget as far as things like rural distress, unemployment, private investment, all these things are concerned? What is the kind of expectation you have?
Yeah, so the first thing I must say is that unlike most people sort of who've been talking about this, there's the last budget of the government and the elections are around the next year, etc.
Right.
It will not pander to any electoral causes.
Okay, so it's not going to be a populist budget.
It's not going to be this populist, sort of,
right.
Budget, with the handouts to everybody concerned, etc., etc.
Okay.
I think the Prime Minister doesn't believe in that. So what you will get is a budget which will focus on improving the welfare levels in certain specific sort of segments or sectors. For example, we know. I mean, for me, for example, one of the worst things is that our malnutrition levels for 70 years have remained as bad as they are. 50% of our mothers are anemic at the moment. We have to spend 83% out of our pocket for our medical expenses. We are a very fortunate lot who are working in the central government, but when the great majority of our people,
right.
They don't have access to public health or public education. So now that's got to be improved. So that's where the budget should focus and probably would focus. The other thing, of course, you mentioned yourself is agriculture, farmers' distress. And I think what we need and what hopefully you may find in the budget is a new approach towards agriculture.
Okay.
Which is focused on raising farmers' incomes rather than agricultural output.
Right.
Let me just give you a small example.
Right.
You see, if you keep increasing, for example, the output of tomatoes, what happens is that their prices fall and the farmers have to throw them onto the roadside and their incomes don't increase.
Absolutely.
Instead, if you were to give the farmer the loan or the means and the technology to put a small plant to convert the tomatoes into tomato puree,
right.
of which, by the way, we import $1 billion worth because it's used in all these pizza tops
right.
and so on and so forth, then that farmer, rather than having to throw that tomatoes,
can use it.
Will add value and his income will actually double or quadruple.
So the farmers making them more self-reliant, not dependent on the market forces?
Making them producers of agricultural products and not agricultural commodities.
Right.
That's the big difference, right? I mean, rather than produce only mango, connect them with a company
right.
in which they can be equity holders, or connect them with a company which produces mango pulp,
right.
and
Absolutely.
cans it,
absolutely.
and sells it. You see, I mean, so the whole approach towards agriculture needs to be changed, to modernize our agriculture, rather than keep talking about small and marginal farmer and and output of wheat and output of rice. Talk about
right.
how agriculture should catch up with the rest of the economy.
Absolutely.
Today 49–50% of our people are working in agriculture and producing only 16% of the GDP.
Right.
That's the state of backwardness. That has to change.